Murderous Tongues, Episode 3, Chosen in the Dark. I live where hands forget to look, not on walls, not in a case, not displayed like a threat or a trophy. I live lower, shorter, in the shallow dark beneath take-out menus that outlast appetite, beneath twine that never ties anything, beneath receipts meant to be remembered but never are. This is where people stash what they promise to put back properly someday, and someday is a town that doesn't exist. I live in a drawer. Once daylight knew me. Once I rode the wrists of a careful man who measured twice and smiled when the second mark matched the first. I drove fasteners into studs and made the sound houses like a sure thud that means strength. I steadied shelves for their books. I hung frames, beach wind trapped in smiles, a cap and gown creased with pride. I tightened the bed frame the night it began to tap the wall, and they laughed with the sheepish joy of people still surprised by their luck. I was part of making things stay. Then I was put away, not in scorn, in assumption. We'll need you eventually. Eventually learn to take its time. Dust softened my edges, not use. I learned how resentment collects without anywhere to go. I learned patience, which is just resentment that has found a chair. Tonight, patience stands. Outside, the street breathes, tires like long sighs, a leash chain telling gossip to the porch rail, a far siren holding its breath before choosing a direction. Inside, the house breathes. Refrigerator hums steady as a nurse, vents whispering about temperature, wood talking low where heat persuaded it. Upstairs, sleep arranges two bodies in familiar shapes, a knee claiming space, a shoulder yielding it, a hand surrendering a pillow and receiving a palm. A figure stops at the curb and looks up at the house. He watches the curtains in the bedroom window. Stillness sells him a story he already wants to buy. He moves, not fast. Fast tears the invisible skin stretched over neighborhoods like this. He walks like someone the sidewalk recognizes, shoulders slightly turned, hands empty, rhythm casual, enough to belong. He doesn't touch the front door. The front door is for names that live here. He passes the cedar hedge this couple keeps slightly taller than honest. At the kitchen door, Glass tests his fingertip and pretends to be brave. He slips through, bringing night with him, like a guest who knows where the light should be but doesn't switch it on. He stands very still and lets the kitchen adopt him. Becoming furniture is an art. People learn it who have to. The world does not offer lessons for free. He breathes through his nose in slow, quiet squares. He smells citrus that happened yesterday, coffee that happened this morning, and sugar that is always happening somewhere inside this house. He listens for two breaths from upstairs and receives them. He came empty-handed. It was deliberate. No tools in pockets, no equipment to tie him to a place if things went wrong. If he was interrupted, there would be nothing to fingerprint, nothing to echo his story back to him. That is why he searches drawers, not for a plan, but for something to improvise with, if improvisation becomes necessary. He tries a cabinet, mugs with chips on the cozy side, a drawer, pot holders, cheerful and stained, another, receipts organized to the exact point where disorganization begins, then the shallow one, where felt wants to be velvet and crumbs want to be forgiven. Wood complains softly, old rails, old wax, old habit. His hand hovers, unsure. Then it lands. He doesn't see me as a threat, not yet. I am just weight, certainty, usefulness. A thing that can pry open what sticks, wedge open what won't, crack what refuses. A tool for just in case. Knives slip, ropes tangle, guns scream too loud. But me, I am simple, I make things yield. I make things stay open. I solve problems without requiring finesse. He tests my weight the way people test promises. A little lift, a little settle, a nod to convince the body before the mind catches up. He nods, forcing a drawer, cracking a lock, scaring off anyone bold enough to wake. Yes, I'll do. He tucks me low, casual, like carrying a wrench. Just a tool, nothing more. He leaves the drawer open. He pockets the wallet napping near the fruit bowl that holds only the idea of fruit. He reaches for a phone and stops, imagining it screaming later, imagining himself sprinting with brightness in his pocket. He finds a canvas tote on a hook and earns it some gravity. A watch, a small box of earrings, cash that had no story, and now has too many. He moves like water around chairs, like a decision still trying on its name. He passes the sink, prods a sponge, surprised by how much mess a thing can absorb and still cheerfully exist. A list on the fridge is held by a magnet shaped like an apple. Milk, eggs, card for Aunt L, call plumber, sink slow again. Remember to breathe, the last in another hand. He looks away as if kindness might be contagious. He steps into the hall. The hallway smells of lemon polish and something sweet that once rose in a pan and decided to stay. Pictures line the walls like a choir of reliable witnesses. A beach day where wind insisted on being credited. A graduation where cheeks gleamed with pride no napkin tried to hide. A postcard sunrise from a place that believes in mornings. A crayon sun, yellow insisting past the lines, with a name printed underneath, letters brave in their wrongness. He stops. He was going to pass through. He doesn't. He stands in front of the family's life arranged in rectangles and forgets he came here to take things. His face changes when no one can see it. A small, private collapse. The frames whisper things he cannot answer. Laughter caught at beaches, a graduation he never saw. A child's drawing taped proudly in place. He stares too long because he has nothing of his own to stare at. His family never kept photos, not because the camera was broken, but because the people were. His father vanished, his mother too burdened to stay, relatives who found him too inconvenient to keep. He grew up inside other people's rooms, always temporary, always on loan. No walls ever bothered to remember him. So now he studies these walls as if trying to step into them. He stares long enough to pretend that the smiling boy missing a tooth could have been his brother, or even his son. That the old man in the frame with the cap and gown could have been proud of him. That this family might have let him stay. He lingers on the wife's smile in one frame, the warmth in her eyes, an ordinary kindness he never received. He drinks it in greedily, as though the longer he stares, the longer he can keep it. He grips me tighter without realizing, as if my weight could hold him inside that illusion. Upstairs, a floorboard sighs. He doesn't hear it. His eyes are still buried in the frames, still stealing lives from paper, trying them on like coats he'll never afford. A door clicks, a light tap of slippers, the soft shuffle of someone who thought the night was theirs alone. The old man appears at the end of the hall, hair in disarray, one hand steadying himself on the wall. He was only headed to the bathroom. Instead, he finds a stranger standing in the middle of his memories. For a long moment, both men stare. The old man's eyes drop to the tote bag, then to the tool in the stranger's hand, then back to his face. He whispers, hoarse with disbelief, "Who are you?" He tries again, softer and truer. "Son." The word touches a nerve in the dark. The intruder jolts like he's been yanked from a dream. He stumbles a half step back, then forward, cornered by nothing but the shock of being seen. Shame, panic, rage, 3 colors blending to one. The old man raises a hand, not in defense, but in something gentler. Confusion, maybe pity. That makes it worse. His eyes glimmer with the fragile light of someone still hoping to understand. The silence between them stretches, fragile as spun glass, and then shatters. The trance breaks. Fear surges, and with it, the reflex. He swings. The sound is not what people imagine. Not a crash, not a cinematic crack. More like furniture shifting where it shouldn't. A muffled protest cut short. The old man staggers, both hands rising too late. He gasps once, as if to call upstairs, as if to wake his wife with one last warning. The sound dies against the hallway paint. His knees fail first, then his pride, then the body that held both. The intruder freezes. The world narrows to the pulse hammering in his own ears. He didn't mean it. At least that's the lie he reaches for. He only meant to frighten, to silence, to stop being seen. But silence, once started, always asks for more. Upstairs, a voice. Soft at first, a woman's question delivered to the dark. Tom. A mattress sighs. Bare feet test the floor. The intruder's chest caves with dread. He stares at the old man crumpled beneath his own family, blood whispering into the carpet, and he knows there's no running now. The tote slips from his shoulder. He grips me tighter. The wife appears at the top of the stairs. Sleep still clings to her eyes. She doesn't see the intruder yet, only the shape on the floor, her husband folded in a posture no living man takes. Tom, she says again, louder, breaking on the consonant. Her eyes lift. They find him, the stranger, the shadow. She inhales to scream. He moves before the sound is born. He lunges, a choked noise escaping his throat, some twisted mix of apology and fury. He brings me down hard, once, twice, a third time, until the scream unravels, until her hands stop trying to hold the night together. When it's finished, silence blooms heavy. The house is listening. The pictures are watching. The walls that once echoed children's laughter now hold their breath. He staggers back. His hands tremble, sticky with a heat that doesn't belong to him. He stares at what he's done, at who he's made them. He whispers, "You weren't supposed to." But the sentence has no ending. He looks at me for the first time as I am. Not a tool, not a solution, a choice. A choice he made in the dark. Do you wonder what I am? You've guessed, perhaps. You followed the weight in his grip, the sound in the hall, the way silence deepened after my use. You noticed how he took me not as a weapon, but as a contingency. How contingency became fate. I am not sleek, not elegant. I do not pierce or slice. I crush. I end by blunt insistence. They will call me evidence. They will call me what I am. They will call me a hammer. But that is only the simplest name, for I have always had two faces. One side builds, the other destroys. I once steadied shelves, lifted frames, drove nails into wood so a home could hold memories. And tonight, with the same certainty, I tore that home apart. That is the truth no drawer can hide. I am never just one thing. I am the faithful servant of whichever hand chooses me. Creation and ruin balanced on the same handle. Men forget which side they're calling for until it's too late, and then they curse me for answering too honestly. And I will wait again, in some other drawer, in some other house, for some other hand to decide which side of me the night deserves. You have heard another tongue speak, not a man's, but the voice of what waits in silence. Things that kill, and then remember. Do you believe what you heard tonight, or something else? Leave your truth below, like, share and subscribe, so the next tongue finds you first.